everyone. Welcome to From the Ground Up. I'm John Boydnott, and this is a Grit Daily Network sponsored podcast where we talk to entrepreneurs about the companies that they're building out there in the world. And the hope is that entrepreneurs out there will get some good information from the entrepreneurs we talk to, and learn how to run their business better, or just learn fun information. Today, I'm joined by Emily Smith. She is you're the CEO of and you run HonestWaves over in Southern California. How are you, Emily?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. And tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background. Tell us about HonestWaves and what the company does. It's smart charging solutions, right?
Yeah, so I'm a California native. I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I grew up down here. I'm never leaving. I experienced cold weather for the first time about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was in Chicago for a client install. Never need to do it again. I'm definitely never leaving.
I thought you were going to talk about how we have like 50-degree weather right now, and you never want to experience it again, and that's the cold weather, because that's the
Yeah,
way I feel. I'm
even the low 50s is too much for me. Like, give me the beach, give me the ocean. That's it.
yeah.
Yes, I'm from down here. I grew up, and I in my past life actually thought I was going to be a police officer. Is actually what I was going to go to school for. It's actually what I was going to school for. What I aspired to be. Spent some time in college taking some criminal justice classes, some law classes, and I had a professor tell me like, "Hey, why do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I think it's just such a great career." And they're like, "No, I think you would be wasting a little bit of time doing this. I think you should go to law school or something else." And I was like, "Oh, school's not for me. Like, this is just not my thing. I just want to get in the job and I want to do it." And so then I left. I worked a few different jobs, and then I fell into a sales role, and I just exploded. I just realized like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, this is what I like to do. So I met one of my partners. We worked in high-end real estate together, or not real estate, high-end retail together, selling high-end eyewear. We worked together for 6, 7 years. He left to go work for a charging station company and was like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" I said, "Okay, let's do it." So from there, I worked customer service. I worked in the warehouse. I worked in the sales department. I worked in operations, marketing. I basically sat in every single chair. So I learned every different aspect of the business. And then by the time I left, I was running the company. The company sold. I left and helped to go run my other partner's family business that has been in business for 60 years. They import goods from India, home decor stuff, things that you see at TJ Maxx, Ross,
Hmm.
Puma, those types of things. And then we kind of just been doing this for 7 years, so about 6 years at the time. And we realized like, hey, nobody's doing a very good job in the charging station game. Why don't we do it? And why don't we do it better? So that's kind of how HonestWave started.
Honest Waves. Honest Waves is here now, and that's the company that you're working on, and you're the CEO of Honest Waves, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And okay, so what are you guys doing that's different from these other folks who are not maybe delivering everything they should? What did you see that wasn't there, and how did you what did you do?
Yeah, so in the charging station business, there's only so many different styles of phone charging stations. There's things that you offer to the front end user as an amenity to your guest or something like that. And then now the market has changed so much to be more of like a back of the house employee asset management, which is just so different from what I was doing in the past. Everything was front facing. Now everything seems to be more for tracking company devices. And we saw this huge need in the market for asset management lockers. So that's kind of where our shift has changed slightly. And we also do power bank kiosks. So when you go to like a Ducks game or the Dodger Stadium and your battery's low and you want to rent a little battery pack, we do that as well.
Got it. Yeah, I'm writing it down, man. Power bank kiosks, and okay, so like you're kind of describing it already. So these are these types of installations. They are at arenas. They're at various. Where can you put them? Why are they such a great idea for people to have for their phone charging?
Yeah, so it's a great way to basically like kind of start a business and have this passive income. So how it works is if you want to install a station in your venue or your arena, you're providing it to guests as an amenity, or to generate extra income. Let's say you're a small business owner and you want to install these in bars, restaurants, all these different types of venues, shopping malls. You can actually go and you can either offer it to the mall at no cost, or you can rent space, give them a cut. And every time someone rents the battery pack, you're just generating income over and over and over and over and over again.
Very good. Okay, great. Yeah. So you have power bank kiosks, and what are some of the other names of the where you install them? Sorry to
Yeah,
not.
so like in a bar, in a restaurant, at nightclubs, at malls, at gyms, all types of places. We make the large ones that you see at venues that hold like 48 battery packs, or
Wow.
we make little tiny ones that go at a coffee shop right next to the register.
I need to go out to more concerts and more, sporting events to actually see some of these things. Because I wasn't even, I knew that something like this must exist, but I haven't seen too many of them. And so it's a good chance for people to make some passive income as well. That's great.
Yes.
All right. So now this isn't your first go around with smart charging solutions. You were involved with a company before. Briefly tell us what that was and what did you learn from that that's helped inform the company now that you're with HonestWaves.
Yeah, so the company I was at before, like I said, I had joined my partner. He was running the company then, and he said, "Hey, why don't you just come and try it? It's something different." So I said, "Oh, I don't know." He convinced me to come. I worked customer service, sales in the warehouse, helped the marketing team, doing the operations, the sourcing, going to China, dealing with the suppliers, product improvements. So I basically sat in every single chair at that company, and it's really important because a lot of the times the people at the top giving the direction, they haven't really sat in those chairs and understood the experience for the customer and for the employee working with the customer. So I was able to take all of those experiences and things that I learned and implement it here, of what I've done in the past, what we can do differently, and how we can always keep improving.
Are there any interesting use cases? Obviously, you mentioned sporting events and things of that nature, but what about hospitals, schools, logistics facilities? What are some other places that folks use these type of installations that you provide? And what are some interesting, I suppose, use cases?
Yeah,
Around
so a ton of different use cases, not necessarily the power banks, but our asset management lockers or our phone charging lockers for schools specifically. In this time, there are so many of the phone free zone bans that we have had districts come and do entire rollouts for their every single campus will have phone charging lockers, whether they go directly into a classroom or they go into the hallways. Every state is a little bit different of their bills of who's allowed to do what and exclude. So everyone's a little bit different, but yeah, the schools will use the phone charging lockers to keep the phone free zones. Hospitals will use it to track the nurses' phones. So a lot of the times nurses use company devices during their shift. You would not believe how many of these phones get lost or walk away. So they use it to track and manage who has what, when, and where. And then these logistic companies, they use scanners in their warehouses. Some of these scanners like $4,000 a piece. And if you've got 100 scanners, that's quite a hefty amount of equipment that you need to track. And
Mhm.
there's a large market for the used ones that you can find on eBay. So a lot of those go missing. So this
Mm.
is a way for a company to track and manage all their assets.
Yeah, I spent time working at a grocery store and we had something similar now that you mentioned that. And some of those scanners, or not scanners, but the walkie-talkies would just disappear
Yep.
once in a while. And we'd be like, where did that go? And one weird thing that even happened was there would be someone who would come along with probably a stolen device of
Yep.
ours and periodically just start talking to us on the scanner, making fun of us and we were all like, who is that person who they
Yeah.
stole? Anyway. Well, let's talk about the company where you worked before for that was a 60-year family business. I mean,
Mhm.
I think this is always a good question to ask folks who are on the show. It's like you were in a family business. What were some aspects about that family business that you didn't want to, or maybe you don't want to identify those, but let's say some things that were great about it that you wanted to make sure that you brought to Honest Waves now at this point.
Yeah, so it's the three of us. We're all still partners. We run both companies, so we're still here.
Ah, great.
It's my other partner's dad's business. He's from India. He's been doing it for 60 years. And he exploded in the 90s. But then when the internet kind of happened, he didn't really evolve with it. So that's why we came to help him come through in the future. So that's what we're here doing today. So we
Very good. Yeah. What are some great things about family-owned businesses that you want to make sure that you sort of translate to, businesses that are more startup oriented and are brand new and don't have that history? What are some of those things you like to try and bring over to a newer business?
Yeah, so it's funny. People are mixed reviews on family owned business. We love it because we operate like a family. Like these, my partners are basically my brothers. So work hard, play hard, fight hard, love hard. It's all
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. Like we all, who doesn't want to work with your best friends?
Yeah, there are ups and downs. What's it like working with best friends? I mean, what's it like going through the ups and downs that come with that? What are some tips that you have for those other entrepreneurs out there who are going through sort of a
You
similar thing?
you just have to remember your team has your back 100%. The message may not be sprinkled with sugar on top, but in the end of the day, these people are your people, and everyone has a common goal of let's make it happen, let's get the job done. You're all on one team. Just
That's
don't forget that in the moment.
that's a great reminder. And yeah, I think that even goes for regular friendships too. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you mention something that's going on with you and they come back with some sort of blunt assessment of your actions and your plans and the things that you've done in the past. They're like, well, if you'd just done this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I don't need to hear from you today. Bye. Let's talk to you tomorrow. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that happens fairly often, I'm sure.
Yeah. I
Um,
would say the other best thing is because we're all together all the time anyways, we all bring our dogs to work. You could probably see one of
I
mine.
see him. Yeah.
So, and all the time we've got like one, two, three, four, five, six dogs here at a time. So
What's his or her name? Sorry.
that would be Getsy, German Shepherd, and then I've got a pug named Crosby.
Oh, great. Pugs are awesome.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the fact that you're a woman, and a lot of times you don't expect to see a woman leader, woman CEO of like a hardware focused tech company type thing. Have you gotten reactions from people? How has that been motivating? Just talk about your experience as a female founder or female CEO in this space.
yeah. It's funny. I traveled out of state for a school district was planning on doing a school phone ban district wide rollout for I think it was a total of 180 campuses. So we went to go meet with some people. There were myself and a couple other vendors, and one of the guys I was talking to my partner, and they go, "Yeah, she's the founder," and he goes, he's just this older cat, and he goes in a very very southern accent,
Oh my.
"What do you mean, little you came up with this charging station idea? How could that happen?" And I said, "Hey man, there's a reason why I'm number one in the game. Don't worry about it."
Yeah,
So
there you go.
yeah, it happens sometimes, but it's nice to connect with other female founders because we're all in this like almost like this gang of like supporting each other. So it's nice to meet people out in the wild too.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm glad that there's at least that. And, as time goes by, hopefully some of those experiences will be more few and far between. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
but anyway, so, you know, let's talk about partnerships. You have partnerships as part of the other companies that you've worked at in the past. And some of those partnerships over at HonestWaves now, you're continuing on with similar partnerships, sometimes with those same partners. So what is it about those partnerships that you guys have done successfully that make them want to keep on being your partner, even with a new company?
yeah. So we use some of the same suppliers that we worked with in the past, and over the years, even since I left the previous company, they've always been like, "Hey, are you ever going to get back in the game? Let me know. Keep my number." And when we did, they were so happy to hear from us and excited to work together. We go visit them frequently. They come and visit us frequently. We do endless hours of late night like product development and troubleshooting, and we're always just trying to make things better. And I think they see that in us, that we're not just trying to sell a product and that's it, one and done, off the shelf. We're always trying to grow and be in the space and work on referrals and make things better and make improvements. So I think like they see the investment in us and it makes sense for everybody.
That's great advice. Well, okay. So, in talking to you a little bit before the show, and in reading about you, and the information that you told us before we did the show, you're talking about one of the hardest aspects of being an entrepreneur, but also probably I'm sure exhilarating as well, is sort of like the daily problem solving, the grind of momentum and keeping the momentum of the company going, and how that can lead to hard days, right? So, well, difficult, hard days, but also maybe exhilarating. Can you just describe a typical hard day that you go through with sort of, the daily grind of problem solving and in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's hard because the daily grind is, my worst day of the problems is so much better than I think most people have, going and clocking in a job and having no say and no way to make improvements. Like my tough days look like, starting early in the morning, coming in, working on some problems with the team, going through some training, some development, and then working through the evening with our team, our developers of, hey, how can we fix this? What can we do to make it better? How can we implement these changes? Those types of things.
Ah, very good. Okay, great. And so, in a typical hard day like that, are there some times where it gets better and you sort of work your way out of that and you feel like you've sort of found a groove again? Or are there some days where it just doesn't get much better and it's a rough day? And how do you sort of, what's your mindset on that as far as like plugging through and just moving on to the next day? Or tell me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone has days where it's just no fun and you just need to take a break. So on those days, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna head out to the beach with my dogs for a couple hours. I'll be back online." And the days, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. We're always going to figure it out. We're always going to fix it. It's always going to get resolved. So like that's what keeps us going. Like we're so competitive. We're like we have to be the best. We have to figure it out. We're going to do it, and that's how we live. Money
Yeah.
never sleeps. So
I,
we're just going to keep going.
That's a great point. I think it reminds me sort of like engaging in a sport, whether it's like football or basketball or soccer or whatever it may be, where you just have a day where there's more times where you don't do it right than you do it right, and you don't you're not doing it just to succeed every way you can every day. You're doing it to get better overall and try and continue to progress and be better. And it's not just about like to what you were saying, it's not just about like everything feeling great in the moment. It's part of the
Right.
overall process. So one of the things that we talked about and I read about when it comes to you is that and it's a part of almost every startup, is that you have the opportunity to sort of chase every possible iteration of what your product could look like. I think that a lot of obviously a lot of startup founders struggle to go down this road. Like this is sort of an area where okay, how much is too much? Am I chasing every idea too much, or am I going to simplify my product roadmap? And you elected more to try and simplify the key, things in your product roadmap. Talk to us about this thing, that decision on your part, and sort of what that's like, and how did you know what to cut, what to keep, all that stuff?
Yeah. So, like I said, the market had changed so much from when I was in the game before, and now we're back in the game. So the first like year that we were really relaunched, we said yes to everything because we wanted to understand what the market needed. There's no such thing as like an off the shelf version that's going to work in every situation. What's going to work in a hospital isn't going to work at a school, is not going to work at a distribution center, is not going to work at a stadium or venue. So our catalog is large and we do a lot of custom projects. It's very rare that we say no, but now that we've talked to all these clients, we've really honed in on exactly what people need. So instead of just saying, yes, we'll do this. Yes, we'll do this. It's, I'm actually the expert. I'm going to tell you what you need and we'll make it happen, if that makes sense.
No, totally. And yeah, so it's and so you find yourself not sort of going off the rails or going too
Right.
far into providing too many weird little directions. You've sort of got what you know you can do. You keep everyone sort of within what you know you can do, but it's still pretty big uh,
Yeah.
range of things.
And like that, with that being said, we're constantly updating software and making new improvements and changes based on feedback because we work with our partners all the time. We don't call them clients, we call them partners because I'm not in a warehouse using the equipment. I'm not in a hospital returning a nurse's phone. Like they're going to have more information that I'm going to have. And if they're able to give me feedback, I'm going to say, hey, yeah, that's actually a great change. I'm going to implement that amongst everybody. And if someone has a new idea that I haven't thought of, okay, let's build it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, that's great to be open-minded like that with all those possibilities. Well, let's talk about the coming years for Honest Waves. I want to ask about the next 3, 5 years, but things move so quickly. Let's just ask about like what are you expecting in the coming year, and then beyond that, like the next 3 to 5 years, sort of what does success look like for Honest Waves? Is it growth, new products, certain markets? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think growth is probably the most important thing to us and product improvements. Maybe not necessarily new products, but making sure that what we have to offer is the best option on the market. We don't want to be compared to everybody. We want to be here and everybody else be here. And that's kind of how we feel about our products now because we're constantly making these changes and improvements. If something, new shiny toy comes out, that's not to say we wouldn't say yes and onboard something. But we really are the experts in this field. We know more than anybody. We spend the most amount of time working on the products ourselves with our designers, with our engineers, that's really going to be our focus for 2026.
For the installations that you provide all over, like where in the U.S., where are the markets that you're currently serving right now?
Everywhere, every single
Everywhere,
state, every single state. Yeah.
right? And maybe going international at some point in the coming years.
Yeah, we offer international. We have, a team that's able to go service those locations. We've got some stuff in Japan and Europe,
Ooh, okay.
but mostly the U.S. market is where we would want to focus on.
As far as you're in Southern California, you're in Long Beach.
Sure.
The Southern California lifestyle, well known for being maybe a little bit more laid back. Has it been easy to incorporate that sort of part of your personal style into the culture of the workplace, or does it conflict, or does it? What are your thoughts about incorporating the Southern California lifestyle a little bit into how you run your company, et cetera?
Yeah, it's funny. I would say that, sometimes people are like, oh, we'll make sure to schedule the call later in the day because I know you're on California time. And it's like, no, man, if you want me on the phone at 6, like I'll make it happen, like let's make it work for you. But yeah, I mean, we're some SoCal kids. We're just trying to make it happen. And I think our personality definitely comes through in our communication and our email. It definitely, the way we talk, it's not like a chat robot is writing our emails. You can tell it's us. We're real people. So
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that people do have that impression of Southern California, but Southern California knows how to make money, just as well, if not better than the rest of anyone else. So,
yeah,
um,
we're able to work hard and surf all in one day. No
there
worries.
you go. Yeah, and you're at the office and you can wear shorts and t-shirts, and I that's the kind of work style that I like. But
Yeah.
so anything that you would want anyone out there to know about Honest Waves or the company that you haven't had a chance to mention yet?
I think we've kind of touched on everything. Yeah, we're just, trying to make it happen, trying to help you protect your company devices, keep your devices powered at all of your different events. And we're here to stay.
Sounds good. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of Honest Waves? And if they're interested in, getting, your equipment into the school district or the hospital or the arena or whatever it may be, what's the best way to reach out to you guys?
So honestwaves.com is our website. We've got someone available on live chat. You may even catch me on live chat once in a while. Or you can send us an email to info@honestwaves.com.
Emily Smith, it's of Honest Wave. It's great to have you on From the Ground Up. Really appreciated listening to your advice for entrepreneurs on how they can run their companies better. Different ways that they can, keep the partnerships that they've had for a long period of time. Just some great information from you, and it's been wonderful to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Emily.